Hello and welcome. Today we're making this little carrot toy. It can be a cat toy, it could be a play kitchen toy, whatever you want it to be. I usually make them for cats, but you don't have to. If that's, maybe you just really love carrots. That's totally okay with me. The things you'll need to make this toy are some worsted weight yarn in the leaf color and a color for the body of your carrot. You want a 4mm or G crochet hook, yarn needle, some scissors, whatever kind of scissors you want, some kind of stuffing, doesn't have to be like this polyfill stuff, whatever kind of stuffing you like. And if you'd like to follow along with a written pattern, there is a link in my bio to find my pattern collection on Amazon, but don't worry, I'm going to talk you through all the steps either way. All right, let's get started. Beginning of our carrot is going to be a magic circle, so we're going to take our long end of our yarn, cross it over that short end. We're holding right where they cross, going through the front to the back with our hook. We'll pull up a loop of yarn, we'll pull up one more loop, and then we're ready for our single crochets. We're going to work 6 single crochets into our magic circle, working down the side that has the 2 strands. If there's some other way you prefer to make your magic circle, you absolutely can. You don't have to do it the same way I do it. I just find that's the easiest way for me. Everyone's a little different. Once we have all 6 of our single crochets worked into our circle here, we're going to take that shorter end of the yarn and we're just going to pull it, and that's going to close that little loop all the way in to itself. And then from here we're going to slip stitch to join, so we're finding that very first stitch we made, we're going to go through there, making sure we get the front and the back loops. And then we're going to wrap our yarn, we're going to pull it through, and we're pulling it through the loop that we ended with. So now our circle's all joined up. We're just making sure that it's nice and snug in there, and we're going to chain 1 to start round 2. Rounds 2 and 3 are just plain single crochet rounds, so we're going into the tops of each stitch and just creating a new single crochet. So we go in, we wrap our yarn, we pull it up, we wrap, we pull through both loops that are left on the hook. Once we get to the end of this round, before we slip stitch to join, we're just going to take care of knotting off our beginning tail. That way it's not going to go anywhere. If your cat is a little rougher with their toys, it'll still stay right where we want it. One more, and then again, before we join, just to make it easier to get to, we're gonna leave that hook in there if you can. We're flipping it over, and we're gonna get a yarn needle and thread that tail onto our yarn needle. We've got our yarn needle. Now that we have that there, we're just grabbing kind of a little leg here of any of those beginning stitches from that very first round. We're gonna go through and we're gonna pull it so we have just a little loop left, and we're just gonna make a simple knot there. You can make that as snug as possible. Then we're gonna flip back to the working side, the right side there. Now we can join the very first stitch of that round to this last one. And now for round 3, it's just plain single crochets again. And again, we are working just 1 in each stitch, so you'll have 6. We'll slip stitch to join, we'll chain 1, and then we'll meet back up for round 4. Round 4, we've got a little increase round here. We're going to single crochet into the first stitch, and then the next one we've got an increase. So that's just a plain single crochet, and this next one starts out the same. We're going in, we wrap, pull up, wrap, pull through 2. The only difference here to increase, we're going to go right back into that exact same spot. So we're repeating that all the way around. We make 1 plain single crochet, and then we make 2 plain single crochets into the next one to increase. And you've got 1 left here when we get to the end of this round. We are going to join again. We're going to chain 1, and then for round 5, it's a plain single crochet round, so it's just 1 stitch in each stitch all the way around. You'll end with 9 stitches. So I'm going to go ahead and let you guys finish that one off and finish round 5, the plain, and we'll meet back for round 6. Okay, we finished round 5. Round 6 is just another increase round, so we're going to make 2 single crochets in the first 2 stitches, so 1 per stitch. And then in that third one, we've got another increase stitch. So we're going in, and then we're going to go right back into that same spot. This is going to take us from 9 stitches all the way to 12. And We're just repeating that same pattern. So 1, 1, and then 2 in that third stitch. We have the join at the end. We've got our chain 1 after that. And then round 7 is going to be another increase round. So for round 7, our increase will be, sorry, my dogs are bananas. Round 7's increase is going to be a plain single crochet in the first 3 stitches, and that very 4th stitch is going to have the increase. So when you get to that 4th one, we're working 2 stitches into that same spot. We're going to repeat that pattern all the way until the end. We'll slip stitch to join, we'll chain 1, and then round 8 is another plain single crochet round. So go ahead and finish this increase, finish your plain round, and we will meet back up for round 9. Round 9, we've got another increase here. We're going to make 4 single crochets in the first 4 stitches, so just 1 to 1 here. Once we finish those 4 plain single crochets, we have an increase stitch on that 5th one. So again, we're going right back into that same spot. We are repeating this all the way until you get back to the end. So 4 plain, 1 increase. You should end up with 18 stitches. For round 10, you've got another plain single crochet round, so 1 single crochet in each stitch. You'll have 18 at the end of that one as well. Keep going and we'll get back together for round 11. We're ready for round 11. Round 11 is actually going to be a decreasing round. So for this one, we've got a plain single crochet in that first stitch, and then we are going to work the next 2 together. The way I like to do this is I'll go through the front loop only of both of the stitches I want to work together, wrap that yarn, pull through both of them, wrap and pull through the last 2 on the hook. So we're repeating this all the way until you get to the end. That's going to take us from 18 stitches down to 12. If there's some other way you like to do your decrease stitch, absolutely feel free. You don't have to do it the exact same way I'm doing it. And when we get to the end, you can hold off on our slip stitch to join, just because this is going to be where we want to add our catnip, if you're adding catnip, our stuffing, or anything else that you feel like putting in there. It doesn't have to be polyfill, it could be bits of old yarn, crinkled paper, whatever you feel like. I don't know, dryer lint maybe. So keep going, and when you finish, again, we're going to skip our slip stitch for now. We'll get to it later. Make sure that your starting tail is tucked in. We don't have to do anything else with it because we did knot it off earlier, so we're just going to make sure it's staying inside. Add whatever you want. If you are doing catnip, catnip first, then your stuffing so it doesn't fall out. And then we'll meet back up for round 12. Round 12 is our last round. We're going to go ahead and finish that slip stitch that we skipped earlier. So just going into that very first stitch of the previous round. Pull the yarn through that first and last one. We're going to chain 1, and now we're going to decrease all the way around. So that's going to take us from 12 stitches down to just 6. So we're going through the front loops only of those first 2 stitches. Wrap, pull up, wrap, pull through 2. And we're just doing that all the way around until you get back to the end. We're going to slip stitch to join. We don't need to chain 1 here, because once we finish that slip stitch, we'll be trimming the tail of our yarn and tying off. So go ahead, keep going, finish off this decrease, and then we'll meet back for our finishing touches. Our slip stitch is done. We are going to cut off like a medium length tail, leaving us something to use to weave that open bit at the top closed. So we're taking that tail, we're going to wrap it over our hook, and we're going to pull through that last loop just to tie it off. So now we're going to take our tail and we are going to thread it onto a yarn needle. Once we have that tail threaded into the yarn needle, we're going to use it to weave close the top. So we're going into the very first stitch, out through the next one with our needle, bringing that yarn with us. We're going to do the next 2. And we're going to do that one last time, going in and out that last one. And we're going to pull to close off the top bit. And then we shall go through a little spot there where the join was until we've got just a little loop. Bring in that yarn needle through, and we're creating a little knot there just to secure everything. And then whichever direction that knot lays the flattest, we're gonna take that yarn needle with the rest of our tail on it, and we're gonna push it through the toy, put a little bit of tension on there, so when we snip off that tail nice and close without catching any of our stitches, it'll just pop right back in there and disappear. So now our carrot's done. All that's left is to add on our leaves. For our leaf, we're gonna take our yarn, we're gonna cross the long end over the short, and then we are gonna reach through that little loop, pull up to make our slip knot, and then from there we're gonna insert our hook, just tightening that slip knot to where it's snug on the hook, but you can still kind of move around pretty freely. And then we are going to chain 26. So we're just wrapping and pulling our yarn through until we get a count of 26 chains. Once we have those, we'll start to work our way down one side, then the other. So keep going. Once you have 26, then we are ready for our first set of double crochets. So we are going to be working not in that first one, but that second chain down from the hook. I'm going to wrap our yarn over our hook. We're going into that chain and we're going to wrap our yarn, pull up a loop. So now we have 3 loops on our hook there. We're going to wrap, pull through the first 2. And then we are going to do that one more time. We're going to wrap and pull through those last 2. We're going to do that 5 more times into that same spot. This is going to create the curve on the top of our leaf. So just making sure every time you're going into that same little spot right there, the hole kind of starts to make itself a little more known as you're adding those double crochets in there. And then we will be working our way down our leaf from here. So once we have all 6, then our next stitch will be in the following chain. So we're working our way on down. So we're going to leave those there. We're going to wrap, go into the next chain, wrap, pull up, and we're working a double crochet, and then we're going to do the same thing in the next 2 chains. So now we're on single stitches here, just working our way down. So you should have that first set of 6 up here, and then 1, 2, and 3 individual double crochets. Our next 3 chains, we're going to work half double crochet. So we're going to wrap our yarn just like we did for the double. We're going to go into the next chain. We're going to wrap, pull up. So we've got 3 on there again. We're going to wrap, but this time we're going to pull through all 3. So we're doing that 2 more times. And then we are switching our stitches again. It's just making our leaf a little bit more narrow. So we're going to go in without wrapping. So we're just creating a single crochet, wrap, pull up. Now you've got 2 on there, wrap, pull through both of those, and we're going to do 2 more. Our next 5 chains, we are just going to slip stitch into, keeping that as the skinniest little part there. So we're going in, wrap, we pull up, and then we pull through that 1 on the hook. So you just have a little less to do each time. Once we have all 5, we're going to be working backward over to the other side of our leaf. So we finished our slip stitches. Now we're going to go in, wrap, pull up for that single crochet, wrap, pull through those 2. 2 more like that. And now we've got our half double crochet. So we're going to wrap, go in, wrap, pull up, wrap, pull through all 3. 2 more times. 1 more. And then those next stitches are going to be double crochets again. So we're getting a little wider toward the top. We wrap, we go in, wrap, pull up, we wrap, pull through 2, and then repeat, wrap, pull through 2. 2 more here. And on our very last one, we will be back to our 6 double crochets from where we started, so that's just going to make the big round end on the other side of the leaf. So we wrap, we go into that very last one, and we are going to go ahead and make 6 double crochets there. We've got all 6 there, and we're working the other side of our chain. It's going to be exactly the same as that first side. We're just going to double crochet into the next 3 stitches. Same thing here. And once you have all 3, you're going to switch to that half double crochet. There's so much cat hair in all my yarn. Wrap, we go in, wrap, pull up, wrap, pull through all 3 for that half double. And we got one more after this one. And then we are switching to the single crochets. Nice deep breath. Trying not to worry too much about that splitting yarn. One more single crochet here. Then we are going to switch one more time to our slip stitches. So we've got 5. 1, and then go through the one on the hook. 2 more, and one more time. Now we're switching back to our single crochets. So we're going in, wrap our yarn, pull it up, wrap, pull through 2. Oh boy, there's a cat across the street from our house. It just keeps hanging out in the field across the street. And the dogs are losing their minds today. So we finished our 3 singles. We're going back to half doubles for 3 stitches. It was a very cute cat. Actually, it looks like one of our other cats. We joked about trying to catch it and assuming my husband would never know that there was a 4th cat in the house because it would just look like one of the cats we already had. So unless he saw them together, he would never know. One more double crochet, and then we are going to join, finding the beginning of those double crochets there. I kind of curl in a little bit, and we are going to slip stitch to join, and that is our leaf. So you can cut off like a medium length tail because we are going to weave these down to the center from both sides, and we'll use whichever one's shorter just to kind of tack them together so they stay like that. And then the other one will sew the leaves on. Attaching our leaves, what I've gone ahead and done is take our short tail and just weave it through the back to tack together the center so the leaves kind of stand up a little better. And then the longer end of your tail, if one was longer than the other, is going to get a yarn needle threaded through, and then right in the top center of our carrot, we're just going to go ahead and lace that in there, placing that little set of leaves wherever you like it. And once we go through the toy, then we're going to go back through our leaves, and we're just going back and forth. So going through the top of the toy, and then going through the leaves as many times as it takes to get it to stay standing up and feel as secure as you think you need it for whoever you're going to gift it to, whether it's a cat or a human. You want to make sure that it's not going to go anywhere. So once we have that all tied on, the only other thing left to do is to knot it off. And we'll do the same thing with this tail as we did with the orange tail. And we're just going to send it through our toy to become an invisible part of the inside. Okay, so I'm gonna knot somewhere as low as I can on the leaf so the knot blends in. And once we go through there, making that as snug as I can, and then right through the toy. And just like before, we'll put enough tension on there so that when we snip it off, it is going to be able to just disappear back to the inside of the toy. And that's it. Our little carrot is all done. I hope you guys had fun. Thank you so much for joining me. Enjoy your little carrots.